Survival Kids is a
That's
game
a
for
knife.
Game Boy Color where
Adventurous
you must
Dad
survive
gave
on a
knife
deserted
as a
island.
present. Probably not wise to give a knife to a 10-year-old. Dad,
You play as a
what could
kid who
Dad
has
be
to gather
doing?
food, water,
Worrying about
and
him
other
won't help
resources
me
while
any
avoiding
right now.
dangerous
You're
animals
10,
and
you'd be
finding a way
terrifying.
to
Got
escape
do what
the
I can
island.
for
The game
70%.
also has puzzles to solve
Maybe
and
hunger?
secrets to discover.
Water is W at 70, and then F? F. Fear? I don't... We'll find out. What's this?
Survival
use it if
Kids
I
is
had
one
a
of the top
battery.
10 hardly known
Wet
games on Game
matches,
Boy
that's not
Color
good.
because it
And we
was
have a
not
knife.
heavily
With the
advertised
knife,
and
yes.
did not receive as
In
much
the
attention as this other game games at offers the a time of unique its and challenging
Do I have to
gameplay
just
experience
mash
that
out
is
of
unlike
this?
many
What?
other games on the Game Boy
What
Color.
is going on?
The
Feather.
open-ended nature of the game allows for a lot
an
of
intact
exploration
bird
and
feather.
experimentation, which
Man,
makes it
it's
a great choice for players who
worry
enjoy
is that some of this
strategy
is
and
not
problem
gonna work.
solving.
Actually,
Survival Kids is a hidden gem that deserves more recognition among fans of
Days
Game Boy
without an
Color
accident?
games.
1.
Azure Dreams is a game for the Game Boy Color that many people may not have heard of. In this game, you play as a young man named Ko who lives in a town called Monspia. Ko's father was a famous monster tamer, and Ko wants to follow in his footsteps. The game is divided into 2 parts: dungeon exploration and town management. In the dungeons, Ko must fight monsters and find treasure while trying to climb to the top floor. In town, Ko can interact with other characters, buy and sell items, and upgrade his equipment. One reason why Azure Dreams is one of the top 10 hardly known games on Game Boy Color is that it was not heavily advertised when it was released. Many people may not have even heard of it. Additionally, the game combines different genres, so it may not appeal to everyone. However, those who do enjoy the game will find a unique and engaging experience that blends RPG and simulation elements. The game also has a lot of replay value, as each playthrough can be different depending on how the player manages their resources. Azure Dreams is a hidden gem of a game that is definitely worth checking out for Game Boy Color fans. Is a detective game where you play as a fish investigator named Blip. Your job is to solve the mystery of missing fish from a nearby aquarium. You must gather clues, interview suspects, and use your fishy intuition to uncover the culprits. The game takes place in an underwater world with colorful graphics and fun animations. Despite its unique concept and charming visuals, The Fish Files remains one of the top 10 hardly known games on Game Boy Color. This is likely due to its limited distribution and lack of marketing. Many gamers may have missed out on this hidden gem, but those who have played it appreciate its creativity and engaging gameplay. If you're a fan of detective games or just looking for something different to play on your Game Boy Color, The Fish Files is definitely worth checking out. Magi Nation is a video game that was released for the Game Boy Color in 2001. It tells the story of a boy named Tony Jones who is transported to a magical world called the Moonlands. In this world, Tony discovers that he is a mage and must collect magical cards to defeat evil forces and save the Moonlands. Magi Nation is one of the top 10 hardly known games on Game Boy Color because despite being a great game, it didn't receive much attention. The game has a unique storyline, fun gameplay, and charming graphics. However, it was released late in the Game Boy Color's lifespan, which may have contributed to its lack of popularity. Additionally, the game was never released outside of North America, which limited its audience. Despite this, Magi Nation remains a hidden gem for those who want to explore a magical world filled with adventure and excitement. Dragon Warrior 3 is a role-playing game that was released for the Game Boy Color in the year 2001. The game is set in a fictional world of a Leftguard and follows the journey of a hero and their companions as they attempt to defeat the evil Baramos and save the world from destruction. The game is considered one of the top 10 hardly known games on Game Boy Color because it is often overshadowed by other popular games on the platform. Despite this, Dragon Warrior 3 has a lot to offer players. The game features a vast world to explore, a deep and engaging storyline, and a wide range of characters to interact with. One of the unique features of Dragon Warrior 3 is its class system. Players can choose from a variety of character classes, such as Warrior, Mage, and Thief, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. As the game progresses, players can switch classes and customize their characters to suit their playstyle. Overall, Dragon Warrior 3 is a challenging and rewarding game that is sure to appeal to fans of classic RPGs. Its combination of engaging gameplay, intricate storyline, and customizable characters make it one of the top hidden gems on the Game Boy Color. Harvest Moon 2 is a farming simulation video game that was released on Game Boy Color in 2000. In this game, players take on the role of a young farmer who inherits an old, run-down farm from their grandfather. The goal of the game is to restore the farm to its former glory by planting crops, raising animals, and building relationships with the local townspeople. One of the reasons why Harvest Moon 2 is one of the top 10 hardly known games on Game Boy Color is because it was released its relative obscurity. Harvest Moon 2 is overshadowed by more popular titles that offers a unique and immersive experience for players. What sets Harvest Moon 2 apart from other farming simulation games is its focus on building relationships. Players must interact with the local townspeople in order to progress through the game, and can even get married and start a family. This element of the game adds a layer of depth and complexity that is not often seen in similar titles. Overall, Harvest Moon 2 is a hidden gem on Game Boy Color that is definitely worth checking out for fans of farming simulation games. It may not have been as popular as some of the other games on the console, but its unique gameplay mechanics and charming aesthetic make it a standout title in its own right. Luffy the Legend Returns is a role-playing video game released for the Game Boy Color in 2001. The game follows the story of Eldon, a young adventurer who sets out to save the world from a new evil force. Eldon teams up with a group of heroes, including his childhood friend Torma and a mysterious woman named Rami. The game is a sequel to the original Luffy games, but it takes place many years after the events of those games. The gameplay features turn-based battles, puzzle solving, and exploration of various dungeons and towns. Despite being hailed as one of the top 10 hardly known games on Game Boy Color, Luffy the Legend Returns. The game also features a unique capsule for its engaging gameplay where players can collect and raise monsters to aid them in battle. Overall, Luffy the Legend Returns is a hidden gem for fans of classic RPGs and is definitely worth checking out for those who are looking for a challenging and rewarding Game Boy Color in 2002. The game follows the adventures of a half-genie named Shantae as she tries to save her home, Scuttle Town, from an evil pirate named Shantae can transform into different animals, such as a monkey and an elephant, to help her in her quest. The game has become one of the top 10 hardly known games on Game Boy Color due to its unique gameplay and charming graphics, which helped it stand out from other games on the platform. The game also had a limited release, making it difficult for many players to discover it. Despite its relative obscurity, Shantae has become a cult classic among video game enthusiasts due to its challenging gameplay, memorable characters, the game has since spawned several sequels and spin-offs, cementing its place in gaming history as one of the most beloved but underrated titles on the Game Boy Color, where you play as a character named Zack and guide him through various dungeons, battles, and puzzles. The player controls a robot in battles using different types of ammunition to defeat enemies. The story revolves around finding and collecting different types of metals to unlock new areas and progress the game. The game is considered one of the top 10 hardly known games on Game Boy Color because it didn't receive much recognition when it was released. Gameplay mechanics, an engaging story, and a fun soundtrack. It is worth noting that Metal Walker is a hidden gem for fans of RPG and puzzle games on Game Boy Color. Wendy Every Which Way is a game for Game Boy Color where you play as Wendy, a young witch in training. The game takes place in a magical school where Wendy must navigate through various levels and defeat enemies using her spells and broomstick. Wendy can also collect ingredients to brew potions that can help her on her journey. What makes Wendy Every Which Way one of the top 10 hardly known games on Game Boy Color is that it is an underrated gem that combines action and puzzle solving. The game's charming graphics and storyline make it a perfect choice for those who love both witches and video games. With its easy-to-learn gameplay and challenging levels, Wendy Every Which Way offers a fun and exciting experience for all ages. Whether you're a witch enthusiast or just looking for a unique and entertaining game, Wendy Every Which Way is definitely worth checking out.